Alright, that's 3 hits. Okay, Lacey Range viewers, we're here in the Lacey barn, and what you got before you is a display of the M41 series of sniper rifles for the Swedish Army. As you can see right here, we have the M41 with the Ajack scope. Here we have the M41 with the AGA M42 scope that was actually made in Sweden. Then we move up to the M41 with the M44, AGA M44. Once again, actually made in Sweden. To know about 500 of them or so were used on rifles. Okay, and then we move up to the M41B, and we'll go over each gun individually. But to start off, orienting you to the gun here. Now, you got to remember that the Swedes initially started buying the Ajack scopes and the short side rail mounts and bases from Germany. So, to my knowledge, and reading in the Crown of Jewels right here by Dana Jones, these were imported and then the Swedes mounted them. And it's really not that hard to do this, and but because they cut the wood back, mount the base, and then of course the mount had to slide on it, and pretty much all of them had to be fitted. And that's why today, if you find some, most time what we see nowadays is M41Bs that Samco imported in Florida. The Swedes started numbering the mount to the base, and that's because they were being hand fitted for the best fit. You might find one every once in a while that will slide on another rifle, but usually you got to fit them a little bit. But back to the original M41. So these guns were picked through I forget how many, 150,000, however many, 250,000, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, that the M96s that the Swedes had built by the 20s. So they picked the top 5,500 plus guns, top shooters in the whole country. Now think about that. In the American Army, we have always, to my knowledge, like with the 1903 A4s, they just made 25 or 28,000 of them and put a scope on them. And nothing particular was done to them. They did try to make sure they had a little higher grade barrel than the run-of-the-mill guns, but they were not picked for their accuracy. Going into the M1Cs, M1Ds, once again, they tried to do a little bit to them, but they were not picked for their accuracy. So these guys picked these guns, cream of the crop, and scoped them with the Ajack. Now, you won't see a M41 with an Ajack scope on it very often. There might be a few of them out there, but there's very, very few of them. Almost all the scopes that the Swedes had, Ajack type, in the 50s was upgraded to the B model, which is on this. This happened to be a B model scope too. The bloom lenses and everything else. But you will find that most of these are 42, 43, 41 dated, and as they came in, they mounted them. Well, of course, y'all know what 1941 the Germans invaded Russia. So here we are in Sweden, and they cut us off from scopes. So what do we got to do? Well, we got to come up with our own scopes, because every army by now is using a sniper. The Russians were heavy into it. Germans were getting real heavy into it. And here's what we end up with. Now, if you're familiar with the Weaver scope that was on the M73B1 that was on the 1903 A4, this is sort of the same thing. It's like looking through a straw tube. You control your elevation by the ring right here. And zeroing this gun is a little bit of a pain in the butt. You've got to line everything up, and you've got access to a small screw underneath. And once you got that set, then your dial should match up. Nothing impossible, but not very easy to do. And also, like when I got this scope here, in fact, I bought a gun just to get this scope because they really didn't want that much for it. But you could not see through this scope, not at all, nothing. I mean, it was like a black, almost totally black. But sent it off to Mike at Iron Sights, came back, and man, it's fantastic, fantastic. So as deals go, I came out pretty good in that deal. Got a, and now WWII has that gun that this came on, but got the AGA M42 right here. Small field of view. The Swedes really didn't like it. Prone to moisture and everything else. So they produced the M44 scope up here. Now this, you actually have a turn on it. A little easier to zero. It's a lot like the German scopes to zero on here. Now this scope's been the mic at Iron Sight also. And the scope on this one was cloudy too. So sitting it out there, got it fixed, good to go now. Now these scopes, they think roughly, I think this is number 22. They used about 500 of them on rifles. But you will run into these scopes because they was used on their anti-tank guns and in their track vehicles that they had for anti-tank. So you will see some, and of course they've got a different turning up here to work on. And then we finish up with the M41B, which, you know, the war is over, World War II is finished up, and in the mid-50s they send the scopes back to Ajax, which is still open in Germany. The lenses are bloomed, other repairs are done, and we end up with essentially, I would call the Ajack the best scope of World War II. Yeah, I mean, it's light. I may get a dinged at a whole lot, but it's a very light scope, rugged, easy to use, and the optic quality is just out of this world. Most of the time, if we're out, when we run the matches and stuff, if some of the modern day shooters, you know, all they do is PRS or something like that, and they look through these scopes, and they, man, how old is that? And you know, you tell them, hey, 42, it blows their mind. But excellent scopes. But as you can see on the B model here, they blackened the bolt, added a new sight to it, and also, let me pull it up. And this actually came from Samco here with the real mount. Of course, Samco's put their number on it to match, but a little bit of that's a whole story in itself. But they also put a screw up here, and what would happen is you continue shooting with these short side rails, they continue to get tighter and tighter. And because the Swedes did not leave these on the guns, they usually took them off unless they were fixing to use them. The soldiers couldn't get them off. You're supposed to be able to just pop this lever, as you can see right there, scope comes right off. But on the M41, without that little screw there, it would just keep sliding forward and keep getting harder and harder, and then usually you'd have to get a hammer or something else and tap the mount to get it off of there. It's a pain in the butt. But that took care of it. That kept it from going too far and locking. Of course, the iron sight that they moved on it, the FRM M55 sight is adjustable for elevation. Just rotate it and it goes up and down. And like I say, black and bolt. This particular one right here has a 2 on the marking also. And you can see the separate type sling that they issued with the M41Bs. And always, not always, but you will usually see the M41Bs with the cover on there. Now, also what we have here, does it look like me? Yeah. Okay. Swedish helmet, of course the Swedish bayonet, for the M96, M38s. Nice blade there in the mount. We got some M41, and this is real good ammo. I can remember it when I was a kid and I first got my first M96. You know, all this was non-corrosive. Really good ammo. Now, I don't shoot it anymore. I've got a hand load that I use, but if you know, if I could magically find 10,000 rounds of it, I wouldn't be afraid to use it at all. Another older box right here, of course, the ammo pouch that they use, and I've got the Swedish rifle book by Northgate, by Joe Poyer, and then of course Dana Jones's Crown Jewels. So like I say, if you got any questions about this, fortunately I've got every one of them, and me and Andy Lundberg, far as I know, we both got them all. And so if you got any questions, hit me up. I can show it to you or take better pictures of it, whatever you need to see. But glad to show you this. And if you're not shooting, get out there on the range and burn it up. Come shoot with us at Henry County Gun Club. See you.